MZ here with you on another edition of Who's the Savage Now? Who's the Savage Now? Coming to you live and direct from the poor man's beachfront condo here on the edge of a continent. Yes, it's true. Not far, in an undisclosed seaside city, not far from the megapolis known as Los Angeles, California. There you go. There you have it. In a nutshell. Now, this show is it's another thing about a radio station, a local radio station, a great radio station here locally, KCRW, who just moved into their brand new state-of-the-art studios over on Stewart Street in between Olympic and Colorado there. I haven't been over there, but they've had a couple of concerts. Jim James was over there giving a free show about last month, I think, earlier. The other guy, Henry Rollins, did a DJ set over there the following Saturday. Free! Okay, so on the music side, they're killing it. They're squashing it. What do you say? I don't know. Smashing it, dropping it. On the music side, they're just state of the art, man. Can't get any better. KCRW.com. Check them out. 89.9 FM in Los Angeles, California. I'm a big fan of the station. I've even been, when they were in their old studios, I've been over there answering phones for their pledge drives, okay? Big fan. I'm not currently a member, but I have for the past 20 years, I've been a member for most of that time. I'm not currently a member. I need to resubscribe. Yes, so that's that. That's that in a nutshell. But they've got this program, Left, Right, and Center, that has become left, right, and lame, in my opinion. And it all started last summer. It's funny how everything happened last summer, isn't it? All these radio shows started to go south last summer. There's got to be something to it. Was this last summer? It was the Las Vegas shooting, whenever that was. But okay. I got set off on this story last Friday. Today's Sunday, September 16th, by the way, 2018. Friday, I like to listen to the show, Left, Right, and Center. It comes on Fridays. It's weekly. It's Fridays. It's 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It's an hour-long show. It used to be 30 minutes. 10 years ago, it was a 30-minute show. And it was just a straight discussion. The thing about the uniqueness of the show was its format. It was just four people in a sustained, continuous conversation about the current events of the day. Okay, then last year, sometime in 2017, I think it was around November, maybe, they said they're going to go to an hour. I'm like, hooray, because I always thought that it should be an hour, because they barely got into anything at 30 minutes. Four people and like 3 or 4 topics that we want to discuss. So I was like, I couldn't have been happier. Then come to find out, they changed all the format around. The new host, Josh Barro, would ask the panel to sit back. He'd go off and do separate interviews, bring in other people, and then it was like a revolving door of guests. You didn't know which way to turn. You didn't know where. There was no more sustained conversation, continuous, civilized conversation in today's, echo chamber. That's the, civilized yet provocative antidote to today's echo chambers that are out there. Now it's just become another echo chamber. Okay, it's just become like every other news magazine, schizophrenic. They're here, they're over there, they're here. No more conversation. And I understand maybe that's the audience is changing, the generational thing, whatever. Maybe new audiences can't sustain attention span for an hour-long conversation. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was prepared for it. I was prepared to do, even though it's not. Even though it's mostly MSNBC contributors that are doing the show. Back in the day, Robert Scheer used to be on the left, okay? And he used to say some real provocative stuff. I identified with him. I really appreciated his opinions. And I appreciated them in this space against somebody on the right, somebody in the center, and somebody on the left. I appreciated this confrontation of ideas and opinions, even though, it was somewhat corporate funded. Some provocativeness still leaked out, okay? And I enjoyed the idea of a conversation, just 4 people having a conversation, the host and 3 panelists. Now it's all changed. Josh, he's the host and the center voice. And now recently, Rich Lowry is the co-host and the right voice. So right there's a conflict of interest. Okay, as the host, you have certain duties and obligations and allegiances to like the station and like whoever else, I don't know. But then so that you're handcuffed a little bit, I think, about in terms of speaking your mind. But these guys probably just read from scripts anyway. But they weren't reading from a script on Friday, or at least it was a really bad script when one of the guests, Juliette Kayyem. Oh boy, Juliette Kayyem. When I hear this woman speak, I imagine Sarah Palin having a big sister, slightly older, slightly more articulate, but still not someone that should be on the radio or TV talking about serious things. And I hope to demonstrate that to you right now. Let's go. Let's get into it. Last Friday, oh, I hope I have this. I'm just listening to the show, and you know, what else is there to do but listen to radio? Let's see. Let's pause this. I found it. Here it is, 2:43. Still with me? 2:43. Here we go.
To immigration and border enforcement. So I think this story is more about atmospherics, but that doesn't make it wrong, because let's not forget this week also, right, was the anniversary.
This is last show's Friday, left, right, and center. And Juliette Kayyem is speaking about something, Puerto Rican recovery.
Anniversary of 9/11 is for people of us who've been in this field for a long time. We're starting to.
She likes to refer to her profession. People in the security and never mind.
Down a path that we were in 9/11, which was very dangerous for the country.
She says in 9/11. Is that before 9/11? During 9/11? After 9? What time frame is in 9/11? The path we were heading down in 9/11. I'm confused. What in 9/11? She's not very clear. She's not very precise with her language. It's very vague what in 9/11 means.
Correct. Let's not forget this week also was the anniversary of 9/11. It's for people of us who've been in this field for a long time. We're starting to.
So she's been in this field a long time, counterintelligence field, but she really doesn't. Allegedly, she really doesn't sound like she knows all that much about it. She sounds like this is the kids version, kids explanation. She's explaining it to kids so they understand what's going on. She can't use big words or something, or big concepts and ideas. She's got to use she's talking to elementary school kids. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, maybe she was a former elementary school teacher. I don't know. I'm just asking questions, folks. I'm just asking questions.
9/11, which was very dangerous for the country.
Wait a minute.
Let's not forget this week also, right, was the anniversary of 9/11. It's for people of us who've been in this field for a long time.
People of us? Did she say people of us?
And we're starting to head down a path that we were in 9/11.
We're starting to head down a path that we were in 9/11. What? How in 9/11? You mean like during the attack, or like post 9/11, or pre? Where is in 9/11? What time frame is in 9/11? We're starting to head down a path in 9/11.
Right, was the anniversary of 9/11. It's for people of us who've been in this field for a long time. We're starting to head down a path that we were in 9/11, which was very dangerous for the country.
Very dangerous for the country. She's talking in vague generalities, vague, who knows, we're starting to head down a path we were in 9/11. Very dangerous time for the country. What time? What time? Sweetheart.
9/11 created a Homeland Security apparatus.
9/11 created a Homeland Security apparatus.
The department, FEMA, Coast Guard, all these different agencies.
What? What created what? Wait a minute.
9/11 created a Homeland Security apparatus, created the department, FEMA, Coast Guard, all.
Coast Guard. Coast Guard was formed after 9/11? Really, Juliette? I thought it was formed in 1790. I thought it had been around a couple hundred years. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Can we hear that one more time?
Created a Homeland Security apparatus, created the department, FEMA, Coast Guard,
Coast Guard. More remarkable than that, Gaff. Nobody corrects her on this panel. Josh Barro, Rich Lowry, Elizabeth Brunig, I believe her name is Brunig. Yes, Brunig. And nobody says a word. Are they listening to the show? Or are they on their phones? What's going on over there in the studio, man?
All these different agencies in 9/11, which was very dangerous for the country.
Very dangerous.
9/11 created a Homeland Security apparatus, created the department, FEMA, Coast Guard, all these different agencies. And we spent a lot of time focused on stopping 19 guys from getting on 4 airplanes. That is good.
The official story, yeah. Yeah, 19 guys getting on a plane, yeah. See Architects and Engineers for 911 Truth. 3,000 architects and engineers are organized and are pushing the government for a real investigation into 911. She's talking about 19 hijackers, Saudi Arabian hijackers that did 911. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Simon, 2005 ended up being an incredible course correction, and that, of course, was Hurricane Katrina, because it told.
Okay, she goes on to babble some more. Anyway, nobody corrects her. She's talking. Her brain is not connected to what's coming out of her mouth. She says that FEMA, after 911, the Department of Homeland Security created the Coast Guard. Okay, so what's going on, LRC? That's talk about fake news, but it's not, and it would be unremarkable, perhaps, if it was the first time it ever happened. But coincidentally, it happened once before, about a year ago. The big blowhard Lawrence O'Donnell was on the show, and it's just an MSNBC orgy over there, Trump bashing orgy over there. Why don't they do the show at MSNBC? Josh Barro is a contributor to MSNBC. Lawrence O'Donnell is top dog at MSNBC. One of them. They're all. Juliette Kayyem is a CNN analyst, okay, as well as a Harvard professor. She's a lecturer at a school there. Can you imagine sitting through a lecture, one of her lectures, if using this type of language, this type of vague generality? In 911, we were headed down a dangerous path. In 911. Oh my God! Let's listen to Lawrence on the LRC. This is about a year ago, maybe November 2017. I'm sorry, I don't have the date for you. 269. You can Google it. I did. It's up on their webpage, LRC webpage. I tweeted about Juliette and then followed that up with a comment about Lawrence's gaffe as well, pointing that out. So let's see if we can get this one going. This is Lawrence O'Donnell on LRC about a year ago.
Going to go today.
Selling his book, of course, and Rich remarks to him, "Gee, Lawrence, I don't know how you even have time to write a book." They're called ghostwriters, Rich.
And looming around it all day long, is this wallpaper, which is new, of a possible nuclear conflict with North Vietnam.
What? What did he just say?
Conflict with North Vietnam.
What?
Conflict with
What?
A possible nuclear conflict with North Vietnam.
What? nuclear conflict with North Vietnam? I never heard. Tell me more.
And a tremendous lack of trust among the population about the person who would be running our nuclear conflict with North Vietnam. In 1960,
He says it twice. He says it twice. He obviously means North Korea. Does anybody? No, nobody says a word. Not a peep from the MSNBC underlings to correct him. I tweeted hard. I tweet stormed him, saying, "Aren't you guys going to issue a correction? Are you just going to let that go out over the air? I mean, isn't that a little bit irresponsible as a news outlet, as a news show?" Nothing. Chirp, chirp, crickets, just crickets. You know. So that's two. Misstatements that weren't corrected on the show right away. Didn't post any corrections that I saw later, even at my urging. And then Juliette's back on the air doing her thing. And this reminded me of the time that she was on right after the Las Vegas shooting. She came on LRC as a counterintelligence expert, allegedly. And I just wanted you to listen to some of the lunacy that she was pushing right 5 days after the Las Vegas shooting, okay? She's on there, and she's talking really, really, really oddly, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's see. Open full. Here we go. Short open. Question, no. Let me pause. MZ, back with you. I found it. 255. This is the show open. I just want you to get a sense of the show, I guess.
American history. There were several. Sunday night on the Las Vegas Strip. Sunday night on the Las Vegas Strip was not the deadliest mass shooting in American history. There were several racially.
Props to Josh for bringing this up about the mass shootings, African American mass shootings too, because that got swept under the rug. And even before that, a lot of killings of Native Americans too were probably way higher death count. But nobody talks about that anymore, really.
Motivated mass shootings in the decades after the Civil War targeting African Americans that had greater death tolls. But it was the deadliest mass shooting in the United States in approximately 100 years. Americans have been horrified by the casualties, 58 dead and hundreds injured, and unnerved by the shooter's meticulous planning and novel approach, shooting at a crowd from more than 1,000 feet away, 32 stories up in the Mandalay Bay Hotel Tower, at a rate that sure sounded like he was using fully automatic weapons. And we have been stumped by the apparent lack of evidence emerging about the shooter's motive. Juliette, how should we start to understand an attack like this?
So, the greatest mass shooting in about 100 years, okay? And great description. Josh is a good host. He's very articulate, bright guy. He does a good job, I think, of hosting the show. But so there's the setup. There's the question. And then let's just see if we can get Juliette's response. Here she goes. 258. She's a counterintelligence expert. 5 days after the shooting, after the worst mass casualty shooting in 100 years in America. This is what we get. This is what LRC gives us.
It's very hard to do at this stage. I'm just being brutally honest. I should be able to analyze better. By now,
very hard to do. I should be able to analyze better. It's 5 days after the shooting.
5 days later, you would have at least eliminated a number of theories of the case. And unfortunately, with no theory of the case, we essentially are stuck with a lot of innuendo and questioning about who he is and whether he had co-conspirators in this activity.
Activity. She calls it activity. She refers to it as an activity. In other words, she says, "Got me? How do we make sense? There's no motive. We don't." She throws up her hands. Counterintelligence expert, former assistant secretary of Department of Homeland Security, is throwing up her hands. 5 days after the worst mass casualty shooting in the United States, she's throwing up her hand saying, got me? Don't know? We have no idea why this guy did this. No idea. There's no idea about it. And listen to what she does say, where she goes like less than 5 minutes into this conversation. Where does she take it? Where does she go? What does she want to talk about? What's the talking point of this show? Okay, what are they really selling us on left, right, and center here on this Las Vegas show?
I'm less interested in motivation about who he is and whether he had essentially are stuck with a lot of innuendo and questioning about who he is and whether he had co-conspirators in this activity.
Don't know.
I'm less interested in motivation right now.
Motivation, it's motivation, codivation, deviation, narration. Let's not spend a lot of time on the motivation. Let's not worry about the motivation. What? Motivation? No. I'll tell you what I'm worried. What are you worried about, Juliette?
As also in this activity.
Activity? You mean like tennis? Like rollerblading? Like, that's an activity. This was the worst mass casualty shooting in modern U.S. history.
I'm less interested in motivation right now, as also, though, in his methods.
Counterintelligence expert Juliette Kayyem
opened up the opening correctly by saying essentially it sounded like an automatic weapon. It is an automatic weapon.
Let's talk about the guns. Let's talk about the weapon. Let's not worry about why he did this, whether he had conspirators. Let's not worry what his name is. She hasn't even mentioned his name, where he's come from, a description of the event, nothing. Let's talk about the weapons.
The way that he transformed at least 13 of his guns with this bump stock device.
There it is. There we go, bump stock. They say it 9 times in a 17, 18-minute segment. The word bump stock is said 10 times. I wrote it 9 times. 9 times.
It not only changes the experience for the shooter, but obviously the
bump stock changes the experience for the shooter. Oh, thanks, Juliette. I thought it might be a similar experience without the bump stock and with the bump stock. I thought those two experiences for the shooter might be similar, but obviously I was wrong. Thanks for clearing that up, Juliette.
Impact that it has on those that he is shooting at.
What?
Device, which not only changes the experience for the shooter, but
it changes the experience for the shooter.
Obviously the impact that it has on those that he is shooting at.
And it changes the impact of those he's shooting at. Because I was wondering about that too. I was like, does the bump stock change the impact on the people that are being shot? Because I was really confused about that. But Juliette, she's really helping me understand this Las Vegas she's really helping me make sense of this worst mass casualty shooting in modern U.S. history. She's really helping me a lot.
His capacity to shoot that many people is not defended. The existence of the devices can't be defended by any straight-face test at this stage. It just can't. So I'm hopeful out of this week that what we couldn't do after Columbine, what we couldn't do after Sandy Hook, we might be able to do with one particular device, which is you should just ban it. It does not need to be regulated. It needs to be banned.
So do you remember the question? Do you remember the question? Let me just review the question real quick here. 257.
How should we start to understand an attack like this?
That was the question. How do we begin to understand an attack like this?
How should we start to understand an attack like this?
And that was her answer. That was her
able to do with.
This is the summary. Her summarizing her answer.
One particular device, which is you should just ban it. It does not need to be regulated. It needs to be banned.
Let me take a step back.
So how do we attempt to make sense of this event? We need to ban bump stocks. I think we need to, and the way she talks, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because these are the people they push on us. I watch shows to learn stuff. I watch shows to learn stuff. I listen to shows to learn stuff. I'm more confused after listening to her. I'm more confused about this shooting. I was when the show aired last year, 2017. Was it October? I should know that. You guys know that. Somebody knows that. There's more. She goes, oh yeah. She should be a better analyst. 262. If Sarah Palin had a big sister, it would sound a lot like Juliette Kayyem.
I understand your point, but maybe the standard is let's focus on the capacity of bad people to kill lots of people quickly.
It's like she's explaining it to elementary students. Juliette, you have an adult audience, okay? You have an adult audience. Speak like an adult, please.
Like, in other words, I understand the Second Amendment debate, but if you can look at that pool, because in the security world, your measure of success would be if fewer people had died. So I don't doubt that you're going to get the death rate by guns to zero. But
she doesn't doubt that. She's going to go out on a limb here and say that she doesn't doubt that you're going to get the death rate by guns to zero. Wow, because I was thinking she was a death rate to zero by gun death. I thought she was an advocate of zero deaths by guns. I was thinking she might be an advocate for zero death by guns, but now it's clear I was wrong. We're never going to get the death rate down to zero by guns. Thanks for clearing that up.
But I would like to zero. Going to get if fewer people had died. So I don't doubt that you're going to get the death rate by guns to zero. But I would like to not have it be it of over 50 and less than. And however long he was shooting for. That's one way to at least focus the political
after
efforts.
Bump stocks, what's the measure that would do that?
Well, so I think bump stocks is one of them, because I have no doubt that a bar has been crossed now. This is what scares me, that you rarely see sort of violent behavior retracting, and so
that's true. That's so true, Juliette. You rarely see violent behavior retracting. You're only expanding. Why is that? Let's delve into that. Why is that, Juliette?
So I think the time is right for this.
She thinks the time is right for a gun ban, and in less than 5 minutes, that's where she went. Bump stock. So the summary of this whole segment is bump stock's bad, and given the severity of the event, it's just this discussion seems corny to me, and her advice and her observations and insights just seem silly and pedestrian, and that you could hear sitting on a park bench having a conversation with a random stranger. You would get the same level of analysis from just talking to somebody passing in the street about the event. There doesn't seem to be any additional insights or with Juliette, and even though she's a Harvard professor and CNN analyst and former assistant secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, I can't allegedly. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. There was one provocative. Well, we're into the Las Vegas stuff now. Let's see, 294. I could go on all day with this stuff. Jesus. 294. Where's 294? Where's 294? Where's Gate 56?
Bad people to kill lots of people quickly.
We heard that one, okay.
from New York. Juliette, I wanted to ask you about, aside from gun policy, are there other security policy implications of this shooting? Is there anything that either the government or hotels or people who are planning music festivals, lessons to be taken away about strengthening security here?
So Josh just asked Juliette, hey, Juliette, what do you think the security implications going forward are going to be here? What can we do better? Here's Juliette's answer. 253. Where's 253? Where's 253?
So we're thinking about it already. I'm on the email list, and the listserv's talking about the lessons
She's on the email list and listservs? What?
learned. We have to do that. If there's any silver lining to an event like this, it's got to be that we're going to do better next time.
She sounds like a coach in a locker room after the team's just lost the game. We got to do better next time, guys. Got to do better. What are those called? Platitudes? Got to do better next time. We got to do better. What? Josh is like, what have we learned? What have we learned here? Let's listen to the question again. JB 252 JB. JB 252. Sorry about the buzz, guys. There it is.
From New York. Juliette, I wanted to ask you about, aside from gun policy, are there other security policy implications of this shooting? Is there anything that either the government or hotels or people who are planning music festivals, lessons to be taken away about strengthening security here?
That's the question, okay? What do we do? How do we strengthen security, essentially? And here's Juliette's response. We got to do better next time. We got to do better next time. If there's a silver lining, we got to do better next time.
So we're thinking about it already. I'm on the email list, and the listserv's talking
Juliette's on
about the lessons learned. We have to do that. If there's any silver lining to an event like this, it's got to be that we're going to do better next time. So the short-term ones that people are obviously
That's a deep insight right
thinking
there.
about is greater surveillance at hotels.
Greater surveillance at hotels. Outside of military installations, I think Las Vegas casino hotels are probably the most surveilled properties on the planet. But she thinks we need more surveillance. Okay, so what are we getting from this whole show? Gun control, more surveillance. Okay? This show isn't about informing people about what happened because they're not interested in talking about what happened. Why did this guy do this? That's the question. How do we make sense about this? Why did he do this? Why did this happen? No. We don't get that from LRC Las Vegas show. Just know we don't motivation that we don't know. We're never going to know, she says. We need to focus on gun control and more surveillance. We don't have enough surveillance. We're not watching people closely enough already. Really? That's the problem? They push these people out on these shows to give us this. This is what we get on mainstream media shows. This is a mainstream show. KCRW broadcasts NPR. They're corporate funded up to the neck, up to the eyeballs. Okay? But this was an interesting show. This show had an interesting format, and back in the day, it had Robert Scheer, and it had some provocative ideas and thoughts and comments. And even currently, up until they changed the format and went to an hour, I enjoyed just listening to people talk, just to throw ideas around, despite if it was still, the same thing you hear on MSNBC. I just enjoyed the format. That's what made it special for me. And they've ruined that. It's not the same show anymore. They changed the music, they changed the format. They might as well change the name of the show to the Josh Barro Good Time Hour, because that's what it is. We're 34 minutes in here. I better finish up or make a part 2. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if there's any interest in a part 2, because I got lots more. I got lots more. Yeah, let's wrap it up for now. Wait, did we play Juliette's answer? No, we didn't finish. Let's finish. Juliette's answer.
talking about is greater surveillance at hotels.
Greater surveillance at hotels. No, well, they're not going to stop there, Juliette. We're already a surveilled state. We're already Orwellian. We already have Orwellian levels of surveillance on everybody, Juliette. What are you talking about?
In particular, ones that might be, in areas where a big event is happening. I think it's
particularly in areas where a big event might be happening. Yeah. Wow, Juliette. Wow. Nobody thought about that before. Nobody thought about like increasing security where there's going to be a lot of people at the same time. She's killing it, man.
It's very plausible.
I see why she was at the highest level of counterintelligence work. Yeah, I see that. I see that now.
That he got guns into the room and no one noticed.
Wait, what?
Where a big event is happening. I think it's very plausible that he got guns into the room and no one noticed.
What? What? Very plausible that he got guns into the room and nobody noticed. Las Vegas hotels are some of the most surveilled properties in the Western world, probably on the whole planet. They know if somebody's bringing in. They know.
I go to big hotels a lot. You could do it.
Wait.
I've been to Las Vegas a lot, and no one noticed. I've been to Las Vegas a lot. I go to big hotels a lot. You could do.
She's been to Vegas a lot. She's gone to a big hotel. You could do it. You could do it, man.
And no one noticed. I've been to Las Vegas a lot. I go to big hotels a lot. You could do it. You put them in your car. You come up 4 or 5 different times with different suitcases.
4 or 5 different times with different suitcases, one person, and that wouldn't appear odd? That wouldn't be unusual behavior? That somebody watching a bank of monitors would notice the same guy carrying up 4 or 5 oddly shaped suitcases into a room? That wouldn't have been noticed. Juliette thinks that's completely plausible. Counterintelligence expert Juliette Kayyem breaking it down for us here.
Vegas a lot. I go to big hotels a lot. You could do it.
She's done research. She's researched it. She goes to big hotels. She's been to Las Vegas a lot. You could do it. Could happen. Guy could get 3 dozen assault rifles into the Vegas, in one of the most popular Vegas hotels on the Strip. It could happen. It's plausible. It's plausible. What we need is more gun control and more surveillance to watch these people. Don't worry about if they're on drugs, if they're on medication, why they did it, why it happened. Don't worry about that. That's just to control the guns, more surveillance. Sorry, I'm getting so worked up, but this makes me this gets my goat, if you will.
There might be some surveillance that you could imagine though on the hotel side that would stop this from happening.
You mean like the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cameras they already have in the hallways and the stairwells and the gaming rooms, and I mean, you mean in addition to that, I mean.
I also think, though, on the response side, what we have to learn is that the entrances have to be faster as exits.
Whoa, she's laying down some bombs here. We got to get people out of there quicker. Did you think of that? I didn't think of that. I wouldn't have thought of that. Did you think of that? That's why we have experts. So they can tell us what we got to get those. The death count, she's probably going to go on to say the death count would have been lower if people could have gotten out faster. Let's see.
In an event like this, and I think what you're starting to see is the sort of response might have been stymied a little bit by the inability of people to get out of that fishbowl, and communications and all the things that you want to happen fast, because the measure of success sometimes is, 55 people didn't die, but only, this is horrible to say, but only 10. So there's a lot of lessons learned right now, but let me tell you, I'm hardly fatalistic, but the scenarios by which bad people can do bad things are limitless.
What? He's talking to like nursery school or something. Bad people can do bad things, kids.
I'm hardly fatalistic, but the scenarios by which bad people can do bad things are limitless.
The scenarios by which bad people can do bad things are limitless. Thanks, Juliette. I thought it was limited. I thought the scenarios were. I thought it was a limited, finite group. But thank you. Now I know it's limitless. It's infinite. The scenarios by which bad people can do bad things. Thanks, Juliette. Appreciate that. I think that was it. Oh, getting too worked up here on a Sunday. 253. 253. Where's 253? I'm going to end this video right now. 253. Was that it? Was that it? Let's see if that was it. And then I'm out. I'm
on the email list, and the listservs talking about which doing those bad lists. And so we need to start thinking about how are they doing those bad things. I think that's why it's list. Really fatalistic, but the scenarios by which bad people can do bad things are limitless. And so we need to start thinking about how are they doing those bad things. I think
those bad things. Those bad things. Those bad people doing bad things. Kids. Juliette, we're adults. Can you speak to us like adults? Did you used to be an elementary school teacher? I'm starting to get that feeling.
That's why this gun debate is out there.
Oh, here's another one. 292. 292. 292.
Can't just play defense all the time. That we actually have to play offense and start.
She's back in coaching mode. She's back in coaching mode.
Can't just play defense all the time. That we actually have to play offense and start going after these weapons of mass casualty that are having, these kind of death rates throughout our society. And because we're never going to solve the motivation or the means or,
What? Now she says we're never going to solve the motivation. We're never going to know why this happened or why events like this happen. What?
Or the means or, the place. And we're never going to solve the motivation or never going to death race throughout our society. And because we're never going to solve the motivation.
Why? What do you mean we're never going to solve the motivation? So sounds like she's saying, well, don't even bother looking into the motivation because we're never going to solve it.
Or the means or, the place. And we need to now look at the access issue. Go ahead, Vicky. Well,
gun control. We need to look at gun control. Don't worry about why he did it, why it happened. Let's just get the guns. There you go. I don't know how you feel about guns. I don't know how I feel about guns. I mean, I don't like guns. I don't have guns. Weapons can always be used against you. I'm not a fan of guns. Bad things happen when guns are around, but we have guns. We got to do something about it. I don't know. I'm starting to side with the right on the gun control issue because I don't think these incidents occur because people have guns. I think these incidents occur because people are crazy and people are on, like 1 out of 6 people is on psychiatric medication. And I think there may be a certain amount of false flag operations going on to engineer gun control. I think there may be an element of that in all of this too. I don't know all the answers. I'm just trying to understand. I'm asking questions. But this lady, this woman, is not straight. She is not on point. She is, in my opinion, she is no counterintelligence expert. She may have had a job in the counterintelligence, and that's the club. They're all in the club. They work at a foundation. They get a job at the DHS. Then they become a pundit on radio, talk show, TV. They go back to the Heritage Foundation, this foundation. It's a big revolving corporate funded club, and they're all pushing the same topics: gun control, more surveillance. Wait a minute, how do we make sense of it? Gun control, more surveillance. It's just too simplistic of an answer, and it's painfully obvious with Juliette Kayyem. She's just not a really good. She can't hide the fact that she's just you know, pushing these talking points on us. And let's see what else we got. I'm out. No, it's 45 minutes. This is too long. 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I'm out. I'm going to wrap it up right now. 278. 278.
Now I am going to teach you how to use your buttocks to intimidate ISIS.
That wasn't Juliette. That wasn't Juliette. That was the wrong one. That was the wrong clip. We're getting too silly. We're getting too silly here. I'm out. This is it. That's all. I'll do part 2 next time if there's any interest in this. Yeah, it's hot. It's Sunday afternoon, and that was the point I wanted to make. On Friday's show, there was one provocative comment on Left, Right, and Center. There was one provocative comment. It was by Elizabeth Brunig. I'll play it for you now, and then I'm out. 242. Oh, wait.
United States has done to cause instability, poverty, misery. So much the United States has done to cause instability, poverty, misery, widespread human suffering in Latin America. And I mean, it's possible we could have a better relationship to those countries that we've tormented over time. But I do think that would make a difference. But I mean, again, a lot of this is about punishment, right? I mean, it's nationalism. So it's about punishing the people we don't want here, uplifting Americans who do belong here. And so, of course, the Trump administration is not going to be the first to say, yeah, let's proactively try to stabilize Latin America so that there's less of a push.
I want to ask a little bit about the way the Trump administration is.
That was Friday's show, September 14th, Left, Right, and Center. That was the provocative comment that I heard on there. But Josh, there's no follow-up. There's no discussion about that. The fact that a lot of these, they're talking about the immigration crisis at the border and what's happening to families being separated from kids and stuff like that. Why are these people coming here? It's as a result of U.S. policies of 50 years, 60 years of us screwing around with the governments of South American, Central American countries. Okay, we have a long history, a long and sordid history of interfering in other people's governments. And a lot of people have died because of it. And a lot of people's countries are unlivable now, and they're fleeing for their lives. Where can they go? Not here. Not sorry. Sorry. It's quite a situation. Should I play Josh Barro's Las Vegas rant? No, that's too jumbled. That's it. MZ, coming to you live and direct from the poor man's beachfront condo here on the edge of a continent, in an undisclosed seaside city not far from the megapolis known as Los Angeles, California. Just a short little show on formerly one of my favorite shows, Left, Right, and Center, has now become Left, Right, and Lame. Okay, there you go. Let me know what you think in the comment section below with your comments, suggestions, confessions, compliments, and complaints. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. MZ out.